Before we start, I know there's a lot of questions and everything. Our city attorney, Mr. Buddy Welch, is here. Mr. Welch, would you try to explain to the citizens what this is for and why it's happened and all that?
After the election, the question was raised to Scott Mayfield as to whether or not a certain council person should have resigned in order to run for the unexpired term of Mr. Moore. Um, there was communications that were given to council persons from the Secretary of State's office. There was advice given by Mr. Mayfield concerning that issue. I was asked to look at it, and I gave my thoughts on it. We also asked the legal counsel for the Secretary of State to look at it, and he opined on that issue too. In order that someone down the line could not come back and question any action that was taken by the mayor and council between September the 19th through December the 31st, my recommendation to you was to have this council to ratify, confirm, and approve all the actions that were taken by the board in which a motion was made or a motion was seconded by Ms. Mitchum or in which a vote, if her vote had not been counted, would have created a tie, that this council go ahead and ratify those. This is a double cover for the city. It's for the benefit of the city. It's not for the benefit of any individual. If the actions previously taken by the council are valid, then they're valid. If they're not valid, this should cure the problem. And so all I'm recommending to you is that we be proactive, be protective of the city to avoid someone coming in and litigating a particular issue concerning whether something was improperly adopted. Now, whatever is approved by the council today can always be changed by a majority of the council. Anything that's been previously approved by the mayor and council can be changed by a majority of this council once they go through the proper procedures. And this is a protection for the city, and that's the sole purpose for it. That's my recommendation to you. We have prepared the document before you, and it's a resolution. We referenced all the different ones that we thought that might be a question on. We also separated out the different ordinances that were read during this period of time, and we have listed those. But, as examples, there were a number of beer and wine license issues that was issued in December and approved by the mayor and council. We want to make sure that those things are valid, and the state is not raising a question concerning whether or not valid license were issued. And it's not uncommon for public bodies to ratify actions that were taken between one point in time and another point in time. This council has done that on numerous occasions before, where you had to sign a contract to get something immediately done, and then the council comes back and ratifies that action that was taken. So that's our recommendation. It is to protect potential litigation as far as the council is concerned, the city is concerned. And that's our recommendation. And all the members of the council can vote on it. I don't know of any disqualifications of any persons on the council.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead, Larry.
Explain, please, if you could, why it's different from what Mary Ann did with the other two people that were running for election. Because that's what she was doing, she's running the same job. Can you explain that to me? I don't understand.
If Mary Ann's term ended December the 31st. Mr. Moore's position did not terminate for 2 years after that. when Mary Ann qualified to run for his position, the minute that the election was certified, then she was to take office in that position, which means that her seat had to be vacant at that time. She could not hold two positions with the city council. And this issue is in the Constitution. It is not something that you look at directly from the charter or for any ordinance that you have or any law of the state. It goes directly to the Constitution. And that's the basis for it. And there is no court decision directly on point. It is an interpretation of what the Constitution says, and our responsibility is not to individuals, members of this council or former council members. It is to the city. And what I'm trying to do is make sure that the city is protected and that we do not get into litigation over some issue that we spend a whole lot of money on that we can avoid by taking this type of action.
Thank
I
you,
hope
sir.
I've answered your question.
Can I ask one more question? I'll start with the other, I'll start with the part. I didn't feel that it was made clear that Mary Ann did or did not do anything wrong. My understanding is that Mary Ann was told that she did not have to resign. I want that made clear, if we can make that clear, that she was advised she didn't have to resign in order to run for this office.
Let me just say this about Mary Ann Mitchum. I've known her all of my adult life. She is a quality person. She is an honest person. She is a decent person. And she would never, ever do anything that would raise a question concerning her honor, her credibility. And I have dealt with her when she served on the Board of Education. I've dealt with her serving here, and I have dealt with her in the community. So this is absolutely no reflection whatsoever on Mary Ann Mitchum or her character. And if she got the wrong advice, she got the wrong advice. And I would like that to be clear.
Thank you, Mr. Welch. Mis-
Speaking about advice, okay, so I'm gonna ask the question, can Margaret here to do this revote about everything that's going on here? The rule you're looking for is called a step down requirement. It's also located in our, code of ethics. Why I know that? Because when I was on the code of ethics, I was required to step down based off of what it says in our own ordinance. That I cannot run for a position if I'm holding a position within the city or employee of the city. Now, we'll call that, to understand what you're here to do, that is to, justify what happened. It's not Mary Ann's fault. It is not the city's fault. It is our attorney's fault. You are here to ask the attorney to give you advice about how to do things, what's legal and what's not. You're not a lawyer. You've never been a lawyer. Nor have anybody here. That's the reason why we pay for an attorney to come and make sure the advice. On a couple different instances, you have a couple instances here that are, you had advice. You're having a vote and you ask the legal attorney for advice. We help. Ordinance number 1404, intern city manager, resolution 17-20, resolution. A couple more that you asked the advice of the attorney. And he gave it to you here in this location. You made your vote after you received that advice. You received bad advice. Same thing with Mary Ann. Mary Ann received two things. One, she received advice from the attorney, even though I informed the attorney that why do I have to step down, but he does not. His interpretation was, well, that's different. If you have to go research something, you have to go look up something, we're paying you good money to do a job. If you don't do the job, you need to find someone that's paying you the job. And sir, the other portion is, you are a senior representative, and you should not have to be here, especially since Scott is the city manager for approximately 5 other cities. You have the experience, you have the knowledge to know what you need to be doing. So as you look at it, to do this little quick thing that we're trying to do here to cover some other people and not to cover us, it's almost impossible. talking about to go ahead and ratify both August 28th through December 12th. A lot of votes, a lot of decisions were made. You're gonna try to justify those decisions and make a decision on justifying them in one day. Off the advice that you received from us, the attorney, who made the initial vote.
I'm gonna take up from Mr. Mayfield. Mr. Mayfield was not asked this question until after the election was over. Is that correct, Mr. Welch?
Yeah, that's right, and that's unfair for this gentleman to even make that comment. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you, and then be courteous. The point that needs to be made is he was not asked that question until after the election. Now, there's been 3 different opinions that have been given. One was given by the Secretary of State's office to Ann. There was another opinion that was given by Scott, and when I was asked to look at it, I looked at it, and my first reaction is that Scott was wrong. After looking at what he did say and what was written out on it, I could understand what his logic was. Well, then I go to the law to see whether or not there's an actual decision on it. There's not an actual decision on it. So then I call the Attorney General's office to see what their opinion is. Their opinion was you have to resign in order to run. My opinion is the Constitution automatically terminated her ability to serve as of the date she qualified. Now, there's 4 opinions, and none of them have been decided by the court. The question is what do we need to do to protect the city and not what has happened in the past? And that's my responsibility, and that's what I'll continue to do. That's my advice to you. If you wish to do something different, that's up to you.
Thank you, Mr. Welch. Moving forward, new business. Now I'm gonna council to ratify instead of rescind. Katie? Okay, go ahead.
No, ma'am, you would not have had a special election for hers because her seat terminated, okay? And I don't think there was legally enough time to call for a special election there. The mayor and council could simply leave it open, and it's being filled by the election itself, okay? Sure it is, sure it is, and that's the reason you got 4 different opinions.
Please go to the podium if you want to talk. Please stand up and.
I was just gonna say, to me, it comes across as, like, say, Marty should have resigned before he reran. That's where it's confusing.
Yeah, I understand that completely, and that's not the case. In this city, it is an at-large run. It is not a district run, okay? So everybody runs it at large. On Marty's case, his term expired December the 31st. So he does not have to resign to run, okay? But Mary Ann is running for a position whose seat has not expired. Her seat that she was holding was expiring. That's the distinction between it, okay?
New business, council to, I'm gonna put ratifies instead of rescind.
Yes.
Past meeting from August 28th, 2017 through December the 12th, 2017.
I have one question. Buddy, can you explain the difference between rescinding and ratifying?
If you rescind something, then it doesn't exist, okay? Ratifying simply says that you acknowledge that the vote that was taken by the council at that time was a majority vote. That's all it amounts to, okay? And, 80% of these things you made either the motion or you made the second on it, Ann. So all we're doing is saying that the action taken by that time is validated, where there's no question that somebody could change it. Now, if the majority of this council wants to change anything after you've ratified it, they have the right to do it, and they don't waive any of their rights to change it. Anything. Yes. Yes, sir.
Only thing we do is ask the decision now
That's it.
from litigation.
That's it.
If anybody's going about it now, before we do it, then we end up in litigation.
That's all we're trying to do.
I have one more question.
On our resolution, it starts on September the 19th. I know we made a decision on the 28th to appoint Derek as the, an interim city manager. Does that need to be covered as well?
I don't have that listed here.
On the 28th, we had a meeting,
Well, no, the Tarpley made the motion and Byrd made the second.
right,
So no,
no, okay.
because you have a 5 vote there and if Mary Ann is out, you still have a 4 vote.
Okay, I was,
I thought
Yeah.
that. So, we're not voiding out everything, just even though Mary Ann voted on everything.
That's right. The only one that would raising the question is if Mary Ann had voted on something and taking her vote away creates a tie or creates a non-majority.
Mr. Williams, we're right in the middle of business right now. Mr. Williams, you'll just have to sit down. Thank you, sir. Again, repeating, council to ratify past meeting from August 28th through 2017 through December the 12th, 2017. Do I have a motion to approve or disapprove?
I make the second.
Any more discussion? Mr. Williams, I'll let you speak at this time.
I'm gonna say just one thing, sir, that is, again, a lot of the motions that passed during that time period based off of advice that you received from legal counsel. Some people would not have voted the way you voted if this would have been different. If you go off with just a majority vote, saying, okay, we're gonna mark out in, different vote, but we still know it'd be better to vote for 3 votes. If those votes are made based off the information that we received from your attorney, and the information is not correct, then those votes are not good votes. Another point is, I understand that you have the attorney here, but I think you really want to look at receiving other advice.
Sir, I have to go with my city attorney. I'm not an attorney. You're not an attorney, as you said earlier. Nobody out there is an attorney except Mr. Welch. I have to do what my city attorney tells me to do. That is correct, sir. Buddy, would you like, am I correct on that?
You are, and let me just say this. I haven't ever seen but read about one perfect person. And that's my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Now, if we can find somebody that has not made a mistake in life, I'd love to see him. I'd love to be able to shake that person's hand. But I just don't think they exist. And I guarantee you this, we'll make another mistake and we'll straighten it out.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I have a first by Henry and a second by Stephanie. Any more discussion? All in favor? Pass 5-0. Mr. Mitchell is absent. Council to approve past meeting from August 28, 2017 through December the 12th, 2017 as previously presented.
I second.
Any discussion?
I have a question. How can we approve past meetings as previously presented with Mary Ann's vote in it?
no, I'm saying period, with Mary Ann's vote in it. How is it, how is it not voted? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
If you start out with the premise that somebody had to make a motion for it to get on the floor. Okay, once when somebody made a motion, the question is whether or not she had the authority to make the motion. Okay? We assume, we make an assumption that she didn't. Okay? So, we go back and we simply ratify what action was approved by the mayor and council. And what you've got to look for is, do we have 4 votes? And we have 4 votes, then by you voting here, you've ratified it. You've made it valid and legal. But then if you want to change something on it, Ann, you have the right to change whatever you wish, as long as there's 3 other council persons want to change it, and it is valid under the charter, and is valid under the laws of the state, and is valid under the Constitution of the United States.
I understand that. I was just saying, it says previously presented. Like, we're still keeping that vote. I mean, because we are keeping the votes, right?
No, you are keeping the action, not the votes, the action of the council. So,
So if I voted no on something, what I'm trying to figure out, is my no still a no? Or if I voted, I wanna know, is it?
What we have done is the record shows what the vote was at the time that it was taken. We can't change that. And this doesn't change that. All this does is say that the majority of what the council decided to do is now enforceable by this vote. That's all it says. It does not change your vote against whatever you voted against or whatever you voted for. Okay? Because this has been recorded, it hasn't been changed. All you're doing is ratifying the action that was ultimately taken by a majority of the council. But it doesn't change your vote, your previous vote.
So do you want to restate your motion?
I second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Hang on, you voting? You abstain or not gonna vote for it? Okay, pass 5-0. Need a motion to adjourn? All in favor? We're adjourned at 9:23 a.m.
Can I be excused?
You can, sir. Have a great
Thank you
day.
so much.